Hello and welcome to another segment of Open House here at Community Media. I'll be your host, Raymond Gowker, and this is an awesome show. I love being part of this show because we bring amazing people into our studio like Elida Murphy and Cathy Harner. And they are with the Adams County Children's Advocacy Center. So we bring people that have large hearts and passions for our community to share with you what they're doing to make our community a better place and a brighter place for tomorrow. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is building a brighter tomorrow, and this is an initiative, more than an initiative. Elida, can you share, first of all, share with the Adams County Children's Advocacy Organization,
right?
What is your mission?
So the Adams County Children's Advocacy Center, we're now in our 20th year, founded in 2006, and we provide supportive services to child victims of abuse and neglect and their families. But we also are out throughout the entire community providing child abuse prevention education in schools and other community-based center areas so that we can help to prevent future abuse. So for the last 20 years, we've operated out of a building at 450 West Middle Street. We're happy to have it. We're happy to be there. But we have, over the course of years, grown out of that building. And so we are now in the early stages, our kind of a pre-construction phase of developing something called the Brighter Tomorrow Center right on Baltimore Street in the historic portion of Gettysburg. And what Brighter Tomorrow Center will do for us and do for the Adams County community, children and families, is to afford us the opportunity to do almost 3 times the amount of supportive services that we can currently do. Things like more mental health, more prevention education, more training for professionals who are serving children and families, more group work. All of those things that are so important to make sure that our kids are healthy and they're happy and they're safe.
And you're doing this, it's a beautiful building, by the way.
It is a beautiful building.
It is a gorgeous building. And I can't imagine another building that would give off the feeling of warmth and passion, and that building, if it had a soul.
Yeah. Well, and it's pre-Civil War too. So I think one of the things that, when you do this work, when you're working with, some of the most severely traumatized children in our community, is that these kids coming to our center need to feel safe. And they need to feel welcomed. And so we had the opportunity when we were looking for more space, and Cathy was part of that initiative of going out and looking at buildings and thinking about what comes next and how do we make this work, and all of those pieces that come into like a big decision for a very small organization like ours to say we need to do more, how are we going to get that done, is that concept of where we're at now is a big Victorian. Big for us is a Victorian, but the new space will be even triple the size, and it's a home. And so children, when they're coming up to that front door, it doesn't scare them because it's, okay, this is a house.
Right.
I know about houses. Houses are cool. Well, let's just see what's going to happen. And the big piece of this is it's a big 5,600 square foot Victorian.
Wow.
Ample space to do the things that we need to do, ample space to allow the community, other community organizations to come in and do work with us, but it's a house. And that's the part that I think is going to be the most important thing for these kids coming in.
And we have a lot more to talk about that, but we got to introduce Cathy Harner.
Yep.
Sure.
You know, so why don't you introduce Cathy?
Yeah, so Cathy Harner has been a board member of the Children's Advocacy for years, more years than I've even been at the center. So, but as a educator herself, I think understands the importance of this issue. Don't want to put words in your mouth.
Nope,
but
no,
the
that's
importance
exactly
of
right.
This issue and why we work so hard to do the work we do, to protect children and to give them the tools they need to overcome the things that they have suffered so that they can go on to be happy and healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I really had a lot of dealings with the Children's Advocacy Center was when you came in to do prevention ed and awareness for the children in the elementary school where I was working at the time, and at Lincoln Elementary. And all of a sudden I just learned so much about it, and I knew I wanted to be a part of it. And when I retired, I was able to have the time to devote to being on the board and being involved in projects that we were doing, currently raising money for a capital campaign and helping in that capacity. But the work that's done is so important. It's so important for the kids to feel comfortable and not be afraid and not go into like a medical facility that causes more fright and trauma for them. And you know, we were able to do that, and like Elida said, now we're going to be able to do that threefold. We'll be able to see 3 victims and their families at the same time. Right now we can only serve 1 at a time because of the smallness of our space, and we need to have things you know, confidential, obviously, and what's done. And it gives us a space for a one stop, like law enforcement can watch the forensic interviews, and we'll have a medical facility in this space now. And you know, I just know how long it was so difficult to see how long children had to wait to get some of the help that they needed.
Right.
And you know, now at least I know we're going to increase that by 3 times, and they won't have to wait. Other families won't have to wait as long, and that is imperative for the healing process.
You know, thanks to a grant that community media got from the Adams Community Foundation, the Adams County Community Foundation.
Yeah.
Ralph Serpy and his team.
Yeah. Yes.
Wonderful group.
Yeah.
And they support us very much, so we really appreciate that.
It's amazing. I don't know what this community would be like if there wasn't the Adams County Community Foundation. And under the leadership of Ralph Serpy, it's amazing. But, you know, we were given a grant, and we were supposed to, well, what we did is came up with social media marketing for nonprofits, where nonprofits help make a safe, vibrant, and thriving community. But in the whole experience, Elida and Cathy, what we found out was what makes a great community is a community that's connected. And if we could become connected from what's our passion and our heart, our community grows. And I can go on about that, but the element that we're talking about today is our youth. You know, how important we found out it is for our youth to have people help give them stability, have people that help them go out of their comfort zone and find out what their talents and their passions and their skills and their gifts might be. And then how to set goals and reach those. But when you look at this, you know, when it works fine. But 1 out of 7 individuals you state aren't in that environment. They're dealing with abuse.
Right.
They're dealing with trauma. 1 in 7 of our youth are handicapped as they move on and try to build relationships in grade schools and high schools, with the feeling that that trauma of you know, it might be me, something might be wrong with me. And you guys are just doing an amazing job for them.
You know, it's hard, and you know, we're all Adams Countyans. We all live in this county, and we're all proud of it. I know I can say that for all of us here, and for so many of the people that would be watching, we're very proud of our community. But the other hard reality is that, you know, we get between 500 and 600 referrals of alleged abuse and neglect at our center every single year. 500 to 600 kids. And so that is a lot of trauma. Every child's experience is different, and every child's needs about how to overcome that trauma might be different. And so we have to be able to, as a community, be able to support them in the way that they need it, and to do it when they need it. You know, kids should, like Cathy said, kids should not have to wait to have their needs met, right? They should be able to seek the help that they need, and be able to have us be able to provide that for them. And that's why it's not a building in my mind. I mean, yes, it's a building, but it's really what this building can do for this community that's the important piece. In terms of overcoming trauma, providing those individualized services, being able to provide different types of services than we cannot provide so far. And to do it in this big, beautiful building that's been here since before the Civil War, on Baltimore Street is, you know, it's a dream come true for those of us who do this work.
Mm-hmm.
And on what you were saying, Cathy, these individuals will be able to come into that building, will be able to feel safe. Mm-hmm. They will be able to have all their needs met there at the location.
Correct.
That's medical.
Yeah.
Medical. We support child abuse investigations through forensic interviews and medical exams. Most of the PEDSANE nurses that are working with us with WellSpan Health are also nurse practitioners. So if children have other underlying medical concerns, those can be addressed and referred and get that support. Our advocates are super at providing caregivers with education and support, because when an incident with an allegation of child abuse, it's not just the child who's impacted by this, it's everyone in that child's world is impacted in some way. And the non-offending caregivers that we work with are the ones who are trying to hold up that world. So supporting them and providing what they need, especially if they themselves were victims of child abuse, because we have a lot of generational cycles of abuse in our community. Though it just adds layers of the complexity of the need for support. And I think the challenge, but also the opportunity that we see, is that children's advocacy centers, our model is we're here for as long as you want us or need us. We don't have to end services at a specific date, or we're not, you know, worried about when your insurance runs out, because we don't even take your insurance. Everything's free. Those kinds of things make it, it's all about trying to overcome barriers to make sure that children get the services that they need. Like insurance can be a barrier. Let's not have that be a barrier. Waiting for services is a big barrier. Let's not have that be a barrier. Caregivers not knowing what they need to do next is a barrier. Let's get advocates to help them say, okay, here's some things that you can expect going forward. Being able to work directly with Adams County Victim Witness Office if a case is being charged. Here's what criminal court looks like. Here's how we can help you through that. Your child has trauma. Maybe your child is developing some symptoms of PTSD. We have very highly trained trauma therapists who can help you with that piece. Those are all the things that can happen in this space.
And a lot of this happens without the individuals asking for it specifically.
Yeah, so our advocates kind of act like this is not really the best word, but I can't think of another word that describes it. Our advocates are kind of like a concierge service, like, oh, let's see, what about this, and how about this, and have you thought about this? Those are the kinds of things that advocates do to help, not necessarily steer, but guide, walk beside you through this process.
Help you process what's going on.
Absolutely.
Because
And the steps needed for that.
Right.
Yeah, very
because
important.
when they come to you,
Well,
they're devastated.
It is devastating, and it's traumatic, and who has the tools and resources at their fingertips? Why would you have that? But that's why we are here to do what we do. Because we do have that experience. Every child's experience is unique, and so our services need to be, to a degree, unique to that. But we also have the experience of saying many children have experienced something similar, and here's how we know that you can gain some comfort and some support.
And if I could interject there, sure.
Anytime you want.
Well, we've had community support. Certainly, the county commissioners have been very supportive of
Absolutely.
us, fiscally and just being there for us. But Elida and her staff do work that I just can't even tell you the length that they go to do what they need to do for these children. And to their credit, which is such a difficult job. I mean, we all know there's difficult jobs, but this job, day in and day out, you know, it's a lot. And they do it fiercely to help for the healing.
They're very intentional, and they're very strategic. Your whole process, if there was a way of doing it better, you'd be doing it. But, you know.
Well, we're always asking that question because
it is
continually
ongoing.
improving is good.
Well, you know that, Ramey, as an educator, you always try to make it better. You always try to see what you can do,
What more can we do? How
Right.
can we do it better? How can we do it more efficiently, but not in a way that takes something away from a child's needs or the services that they get, what a caregiver might need. Part of that is the way that children's advocacy centers in general are designed. It brings all of those services into one location. Because I would think as, let's just put ourselves in the role of a caregiver, you mean I have to go here for this and here for this and here for this and here for this, and I'm already pulling my child out of school, which is a normal experience for my child who now is going to be missing that and feeling a little extra stress and trauma over missing school. But you want me to go and make all these 5 different appointments? No. Come to one space, and the people who are supporting that child abuse investigation are in that one space for you. And again, I can never stress this alone. Every child and family's experience is slightly different. There are some commonalities, but every experience is different, and it needs to be handled in an individual way.
And every individual is unique.
Precisely. And what you need, and also we're talking about children, right? Children grow. They develop, and as they're growing in development, their needs may change. And that's why, from a children's advocacy standpoint, they can come back and we can continue to serve them. We can continue to say, okay, maybe you didn't feel like you needed trauma therapy like when you were 5, but maybe now you're going into puberty and you're having some feelings about a lot of the stuff that happened way back then. Now we can still help you. We can still help you work through that stuff.
The door's never closed.
Never. And that's amazing. I mean, it's bad enough that your family would have to go through this. But for our county to have a team that you have, Elida and Cathy, that a family can come into you and pretty much know that this is going to be taken care of.
Right.
This is going to be taken care of. It's amazing that we have that.
Well, and there are only, we're a state of 67 counties, and there are only 22 accredited centers like ours in the state. So, and then, especially what I want to try to be humble about, but I'm immensely proud of, is that Adams County does have the foresight to say this is what kids need when they are struggling with allegations of abuse and neglect, and this is what we need to do to prevent future abuse. But also, let's just be really honest, not many small counties are thinking about building a 5,600 square foot facility that will be the forever home of the CAC, so that we can do all the things that big cities do, right? That can do all the types of services that are offered in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh and some of those bigger spaces.
Cathy, Elida, thank you so much. Adams County is a great place to live. but it's a place with human beings and people trying to do the best they can. And even in people trying to do the best they can, sometimes there's flaws.
Sure.
But to have a center like the Adams County Children's Advocacy that is there to help our youth overcome the trauma that they didn't ask for, and grow to the point where they can find their full potential. I mean, that's incredible that we have that here. You know, and this facilities is even going to make it even better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the families are going to feel comfortable. They're coming into a beautiful building that has a soul to itself. And I think your organization is about replenishing that soul of an individual who's been
Absolutely.
compromised.
Yeah.
You know?
So one of the things that's always said about when you are a survivor of child abuse is that child abuse, it might be life defining, but it shouldn't be life destroying. And so as we apply it to like talk about the things that we are going to be able to do at the Brighter Tomorrow Center, it is the fact that we can serve those multiple families at one time. It's that, whereas right now you have to make an appointment in our center because our center is so small that we can only have one family in at a time. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you feel like you just need to talk to somebody, that you can just walk in the door and talk to somebody? So that walk-in component is a very big part of the Brighter Tomorrow Center. It's a 3-story building. So we're able to do programming on the first floor, programming, mental health services on the second floor, and we still have a 3rd floor which will be completely dedicated to doing group service work. So teens coming together and having a support group.
No.
Adult survivors coming together. to
We're
do a
doing that
support
now,
group.
but this will help us.
We can do it in a bigger way, in more often way, because we, right now in our little center, we got to kind of like, what can we do on this date? Because we can't do a group at the same time we're doing this. So this will allow us to be able to do all of those functions in this space and still have space, especially on the first floor and partially on the second floor, to be able to offer other like professional trainings. Because professionals serving children and families, the information about how to best recognize, react, and respond to child abuse is changing all the time, and we need to be able to help professionals understand that dynamic. Educators are a very large component of the people who are watching out for our kids. And as first responders, our first reporters, mandated reporters. And so that piece is a big component. But also like helping our law enforcement respectfully, be more trauma informed when you're talking to kids. How do you talk to them in a way that's not scary, Those are the kinds of things that we're always working on. Having facility dogs, because dogs are comfortable for many kids, so helps take their mind off things that they might be really worried about.
Yeah.
So we have 2 goofy Bernedoodles who will do that work. Those are the kinds of things that it's not really about the space, but it's what the space can do.
Right.
And so, there are people that we've talked to in the community that said, well, why spend all that money? Why do that? Because it is a big project.
It is.
Total is $4.2 million. We've raised nearly half, so we're getting there, but we have so much farther to go with that.
Okay, so at this point, I think you're getting, you understand that we have a great organization in the Adams County Children's Advocacy Center. And I think you understand how our community is a better place because over 500 kids a year are being able to deal with something they never asked for and be in a community that's supporting them through this for life. This opportunity definitely makes our community a better place to live in many different ways. I mean, these individuals are going to become functional, highly functional individuals. And you're probably asking yourself right now, how can you help?
Right.
So can you?
I would say the first thing is for the adults in this community to understand they need to be educated, and we offer those services and prevention information. We'll be able to offer more, but what's the tipping point? 5% of the adults in our county, that's the tipping point to start reducing.
Right.
Once they become informed and how they can help.
Right, because that reporting earlier, the thing about us as adults is we want to be sure, right? We want to be sure of something, but in terms of an allegation, like if you feel like something is just not right, it's better to report it and let the professionals figure out whether or not there's something there.
Something in with your neighbor, or something in an organization you belong to, whatever.
Correct.
It's much better to err on the side of reporting and let the professionals decide.
Correct.
Because if you feel it.
Most people, we all have that kind of gut feeling, and usually we're right. Your gut's usually right.
And if you report it, it doesn't pull you into any.
No, it's all anonymous.
It's completely anonymous, and again, you're not investigating. That's not the role of a reporter. You're merely reporting something doesn't seem right, and even if it's like there's a lot of times, not always, but there's a lot of times that when we get a referral. That there have been referrals in the past for slightly different things, and it kind of escalated and escalated and escalated until it got to be really horrific. Let's get back here and do the reporting in a meaningful way when it's less of an escalation, so that child doesn't suffer repeated trauma. And what I want people to know about that is, we said earlier that we see between 500 and 600 referrals a year come to the center. But when we see children come to the center, we do something called ACEs, which is Adverse Childhood Experiences. It is an assessment tool that was developed years and years ago in California. And it's a kind of a scale of 1 to 10 about things that have occurred in a child's life that have been, through research, proven to impact long-term health and well-being, long-term physical health and mental health. And so that scale is 1 to 10. And when we do that ACEs assessment for the children that we serve, our average ACEs score is 5.38. So that means that they haven't just suffered through one experience. They've had more than 5 things that have the potential to derail them permanently. So what can we be doing to address those 5+ things? And that's where that advocacy support, where education comes in, where trauma therapy comes in, where groups come in. All of those things can be utilized towards addressing that chronic and complex trauma that these kids are suffering.
When these individuals experience this, it may be that they experienced it more than once.
Yes.
But even if they experienced it once, their ability to enjoy, evaluate, and have a whole experience with whatever they do, be it being part of a group, be it in school, being it just with the family members, that is all changed. And a lot of times, do they not feel as if they're the problem? It's not that's something has occurred to me. It's that.
And I think sometimes that's the case. I mean, like Elida's pointed out, every case is different.
Every case is different.
Every case is different. Every feeling, result, all of that is different. Yeah. We need people to support us financially.
Right.
We need people to support us by becoming informed so they can help in ways. We have a lot of opportunities in events for people to attend, to learn. So that's the important thing for people out there in our community to be able to do that.
If your passion in your heart is our youth, or the general community, volunteering would be a great thing to do.
Sure.
With the Advocacy Center.
Contact us if you're interested in
how
that.
do they get a hold of it?
Our website, which is www.kidsagaincac.org. It has a contact us link. You can fill that out in email. You can call the center, which is 717-337-9888. Definitely watch our social media, where we have a really robust social media educational component, because we want to share information, not just about our events, but about things that help families have positive dynamics or positive relationships in their families, things that help to build children's resilience, so that when they are struggling with something, they have some skills and some resilience belt to help them overcome that. All of those pieces are part of that prevention program. And when we talk about prevention, I think, and we kind of alluded to it in a different way, what if you never knew that the things that were being done to you were not okay? What if no one ever said to you, your body belongs to you? And if you don't like, or you don't feel good about something, or you feel uncomfortable in some way, you can talk to somebody. You can ask a safe adult. You can talk to a safe adult about it. If no one ever tells a child that, how will they know it's not their fault? Mm-hmm. Especially, I don't want to go too deep into this, but especially when adult perpetrators are very, very good at placing guilt and shame on a child. So we have to be way better at taking away the concepts of guilt and shame, and to empowering kids so they can say, no, I don't want that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do something about it. I can do something about that.
That's why it's so important that we're in every school in the county right now.
Absolutely.
Teaching those things.
Teaching empowerment.
You know.
Teaching it's okay to say no.
Elementary
it's okay
school
to say,
through high school, we're doing that. And
right.
it's
And
in
preschool
different,
even.
obviously for different levels and different,
Right.
needs, but that is so important.
Yeah.
Your program is so strong.
Well, we work hard at it.
They work very hard.
Because, it's where every kid is another opportunity to get it right. Mm-hmm. And it crushes us if we don't feel like we can get it done for them.
Mm-hmm. The nice thing is, many nice things about your program. We are so lucky to have your team and your talents in leadership. If you're a teenager, you just walk in the door and
you can give us a call. We are very careful about confidentiality, and you know that. If you call us, your conversation will be held confidentially, but I will also say that we are mandated reporters, and we want to make sure that if we hear of an allegation that we're reporting it. But it was barely a week and a half ago that we had a young person, I'm being very general because of confidentiality, came in, called and talked to our advocates for more than 2 hours.
And you prefer that they call, they don't come into the
At this point, at our current facility at 450 Middle Street, we can't do walk-ins. That's the big win.
But you will have walk-ins.
Walk-ins can happen when we get this center built at the Brighter Tomorrow Center.
And I just want to clarify something to people listening to this show, that you don't have to be a mandated reporter to report. You can call Childline at any time, or call the Advocacy Center at any time.
Correct.
If you feel like there's something that is not healthy for a child in our
And if you feel that's your superhero senses.
Yeah, it might be something you just observe in the neighborhood you live in. Like you don't see the children coming in and out of the house. Mm-hmm. I mean,
or
we have these situations.
Or you don't see them going in the house.
Or you don't see them going in the house.
Or they're not dressed appropriately, or they're coming to you for food. Those are some things that happen all the time. And that are reported all the time.
Yeah, Elida and I had an opportunity to meet with some of the district superintendents a few years ago, and they said right now, that's one of the biggest things they're dealing with is neglect too. Well, for lots of reasons, opioid use and abuse and so many things. So, we think of child abuse and we think of physical abuse or sexual abuse, but there's certainly other things, and neglect is one of the big ones. So.
Emotional abuse.
Emotional abuse, right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of those things impact a child's ability to develop and grow in a healthy and normal way. So the more that we can do along those lines to help educate the public, to help encourage people to look out for each other, which frankly in Adams County we do pretty well, but we can always, as it applies to our children, I'm always going to say we can do it better. Those are the ways that each and every one of us has, I think, I'm just going to put it out there. I feel we all have that responsibility.
As a community?
As as community members, as thinking, feeling human beings. We have that obligation to each other and to our
And to take care of the children. We have
Precisely.
to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Both of you are my heroes.
It takes a village. That's the old saying, right? It takes a
Right.
community, and we have a very committed board of directors. We've talked about how we can, especially the prevention ed. I remember when I first met Cathy on the board, I was interviewing for the position of executive director. I'd done some work with the CACs previous to that, and my feeling was like we should be doing as much prevention education as we do supporting child
Absolutely.
victims. And we've been able to grow that piece to the point it is now, and we're going to continue to grow that piece, because the more we can stop, prevent abuse from happening in the first place, the better off we will all be.
Your goal is to break that cycle.
Right.
Break that cycle.
Absolutely, but also we'll always be here for those kids who need it. We'll always be here for those adult survivors who maybe didn't get the help they needed now they're in their 20s and their 30s, and possibly they're trying to raise their own families, and they're trying to unpack all of that awful stuff that occurred to them and reframe it in a way that's healthy so they can move forward and have a healthy family. That's really critical too.
I just want to stress what you just said. This has been something that's gone on in our civilization for a long time. So many of us has gone through it. Mm-hmm. And we've been talking about the youth. Mm-hmm. But your organization is amazing because, it's preventive. You're an advocate. I mean, to have an advocate for you that's been abused, or the family that would come in and be able to go through this whole experience until it's done for nothing, is amazing. But if you're that individual out there who did not have this opportunity as a teenager to have this experience, to know that our county sees it extremely important that you still have advocates. Mm-hmm. If you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, if you're in your 40s, 50s, whenever, if you still feel that something's been taken away from you, mm-hmm. you have an organization here that's main purpose is your wholeness, your completeness, so that you can help others also be mm-hmm. complete. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. And Cathy, you lived your life with a heart for others. You've been in teaching, administration mm-hmm. for how many years?
35, yeah.
Were they all here in Adams County?
Yes, in Littlestown and Gettysburg, yeah.
And you did it extremely well.
Thanks.
You were
That's
awesome
nice.
at what you did.
Thank you.
You were awesome. Talking about being able to interact with another individual and feel as if you're accepted and you're important. Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
On behalf of not only myself,
right.
but a lot of teachers and kids.
Well, I think we were lucky that we worked in a school district that was very, very supportive.
Progressive in many ways.
In many ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that there'll always be people like Cathy and like you, Ray, who were teachers and really kind of committed your life towards working with kids. But and it takes an entire community. So there might be people like, I don't really want to work with kids, or I don't really, but there are a multitude of ways that you can support the work that's done. And what I like to say is that, supporting the CAC helps to support children that you may never meet. You probably will never meet them. You certainly will never necessarily know that that you supported them, but anyone can make that commitment, either just by supporting our operational stuff, supporting like prevention education or our mental health program, or even supporting this new center, the new space that we're building.
And everybody has different talents. They don't have to be the person that's on the main line.
Nope.
But
Takes
you
a
guys
village.
do need people to back you up. I have. Let's see if I could make
Oh,
this
good.
work.
We want to share some of the. So we talked earlier about how important it is for children to feel safe, and one of the things that especially children who have been abused is they need to see where they are going, because it's scary to go where you don't know what's next. And so what you're seeing now is the family waiting room. You can enter right through those big glass doors. You can see there's a lot of glass. Everything is there, and a child can see, okay, this is safe. There's a really nice person sitting at that reception desk waiting to say hello to me. And oh my gosh, look, there could be one of our comfort dogs, Crusader or Cosmo, here for me to hang out with. But also, it's just safe, and it's well lit, and it's friendly. And those are things that are just absolutely mission critical for kids. You cannot say enough about how important that initial introduction to the center is in terms of helping children kind of navigate through the whole process.
It's amazing. And this is a rendering, and it will be pretty much like this.
Yeah, so this is the family waiting room. Will be located at the kind of the back side of our building at 224 Baltimore Street, directly adjacent to our parking lot. But it's done in such a way that it can be a very private space, and we can also still do programming in the front half of the building in terms of like community meetings and that sort of thing, and be able to do all of this work at the same time.
This is to have a place that has the soul it has, and be able to fit everything. 5,000 square foot?
5,640.
Almost 6.
Over 3 floors. So a big part of the renovation cost is to install an elevator, but that makes sure that everyone has equal access throughout the whole building. We never want people to feel like they're not welcome, because it's hard for them to navigate the space. Here, what you see now is the front part of the building that I just mentioned, that learning center. And so the beauty of this is it is the original part of the building was the 1770s, so pre-Civil War. And then there was an addition during the Civil War to add on the front half of the building that's 1863, Queen Anne Victorian. And that's the piece that you see here, with another addition that was done in the 80s that increased the total facility space to that 5,600 square feet.
Did you completely gut the whole building?
We will have almost gutted the whole building before.
That's what we're going to have
to get it done.
Right.
But we get to preserve the really important historical elements, like you see the fireplaces there. You see that is the original staircase up all 3 floors on the side, and all the brickwork. So that it's a good mix of preserving a beautiful piece of Gettysburg, Adams County architecture, but also bringing it forward for kids and families forever.
If a place had a personality, I'd be happy you're doing this.
Right. That's exactly right. And then finally, what you see here is the mental health suite that is going to be located on the 2nd floor. And the thing about when you're doing therapy services for children, especially trauma therapy, we use evidence-based modalities, things that are researched, highly researched, to know that they work well for children experiencing trauma. But we also have to do it in a way that's comfortable for kids. So we incorporate those evidence-based modalities. They're called trauma-focused CBT, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, like say that fast 3 times, and also something called child and family traumatic stress intervention. All of those things happen, but in the context of art and play therapy. So we use that therapeutic model within, let's do a drawing today, Or let's use a sand tray and talk about, like, children play out their trauma, children draw their trauma, children maybe do like vocal recitations of their trauma, and we incorporate all of those aspects. So that whole space is just geared to being able to, for each and every child, have enough resources to be able to meet them in the way that best serves them for their therapeutic process.
You're really proud, Cathy, I bet, to be on the board with such fantastic leadership.
Well, Elida goes without saying.
On our team, we have a great team.
Don't be shy.
All right.
But
Yeah, she's a great leader, and our team is wonderful. I can't say enough about the work they do and the difficulty of the work they do and the passion they have with it. And I also would like to say that we do have a board who is not just a board in name. They are very passionate about the work that we do and involved in that as well. And, you know, we strive to try to support as much as we can in whatever the needs are for Elida and the staff. So.
Absolutely.
you're welcome to name some of the board members if you'd like.
Well, I can tell you that we have a set of board members that are community members. People like Cathy Harner, Carolyn Wagaman, Cindy Small, Jackie Sonnet just recently joined our board, Jane Hyde.
Troy Dean.
But we also have standing seat members, and I'm going to maybe leave some people off, and I will apologize to you personally tomorrow at the board meeting. But we also have standing seat members, people who are involved in the child advocacy movement in different ways, but they are professionals doing this work with us, and that's people like Brian Sinnott, our district attorney, Skylar Bosley, who is the deputy director of the Adams County Victim Witness Program, Jessica Coy, who is the administrator of Children and Youth Services. We have medical professionals from WellSpan Health who serve on our board and serve in that advisory capacity. So it's a combination of really, really dedicated community members who volunteer hours to us. Because it's not just come to a board meeting when you're a CAC board member. It is like the Troy Dean helping set up the bazaar at the Brighter Tomorrow Center that we held last Saturday. It is Cathy Harner and Cindy Small being out at the movie that we're showing next Saturday.
Charlotte Webb, my favorite book.
The original Charlotte's Web at the Lutheran Seminary. And those are the kinds of events that we do to raise awareness of the issue of child abuse, because April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, but also because they help families develop better relationships, resilience building stuff that we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. All of our events are always free to children and families. So they have some element that is about, let's have some joy for these kids, let's bring some positivity to these families, and mostly let's just have some fun.
Yeah, and it's open to any family in the county.
Any family,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I hope you're hearing that, is that this organization is not only here for those who know they need it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I need to come to you because something happened.
Correct.
We're
here for every kid.
It's here for families to celebrate and encourage each other as a family to find their potential for everyone in their family.
Exactly.
Which is amazing.
Right. And when you think about it, in Adams County, there are just under 21,000 kids. And I think the way that I choose to look at this is they're all my kids. And so from a prevention angle, these are all our kids. From like, how can we support children and families with positivity and growth opportunities? They're all our kids. And I think the more that we can do that, the less over time we will have to have that session where we have a severely traumatized kid who needs that help.
And I know you probably could say, look, if you invest in that child now, this negative stuff isn't going to happen, which is going to cost more. But that's not the way you all think. The way you think is, in a great community, people are helping each other find their full potential.
Right.
We're here to help the families do that. that has no problem at all, but just to help them do that. And we're there to help the individuals that need
Right.
our who needs an advocate. I think
mean,
it's amazing.
there-
Just to have an advocate.
Yeah, just some like let's talk through how you're feeling about things. Is, you know, how well, you know, we know that sometimes this is a useful resource. You know, because all of those things, it's highly individualized, and that's what people need. They don't need like, okay, here's your packet, go home and read it, right? We've all been through social service environments like that.
Right.
Well, when you're traumatized as a child or an adult, like you're not going to go home and read that packet.
No.
You need to talk to somebody, somebody that you can develop rapport with and can over time learn to trust, and who genuinely cares about you. And that's, I think, if you think about everything that we try to do for each and every child, the most important things, that this is something I tell my staff, if we cannot do anything else to help them, because they're not ready or because of just the situations, every child who comes to us, they need to know we care about them, that we believe them, and that they matter. And for every caregiver, we need to make sure they know that we care about them and we respect them. Because caregivers are going through a lot when they come to receive services. There's a lot going on for those families.
I could only imagine.
And we want to make sure that they know that we see that, and that we are here for them. But yeah, as it applies to the community at large, definitely, if you would visit our website, there's a lot of information about the Brighter Tomorrow Center and what that center can do for our community. But also, we're able to offer tours or just sit down and talk with you if you're interested in learning more. Just call the center and we can set something up to meet with us, meet with me, one of our board members, who are all really engaged in this process and understand it, or even just come to some of our events to learn more. There's a million ways you can get involved.
So there's no other organization like yours in Adams County?
No, we're the only children's advocacy center. We're the only agency mandated to support the child abuse investigative process in Adams County.
Now, there are other youth organizations.
Yes, absolutely, and they're all collaborative partners of ours in different ways. But because of the way that Adams County set up the Children's Advocacy Center and what we call our multidisciplinary team partners, our multidisciplinary partners and the CAC, we work together on that investigative process.
Right.
And then the CAC takes it further in terms of being able to do mental health services, being able to do that really robust advocacy support, all that prevention education. That's not about investigations, that's about preventing investigations. And then the community outreach piece, what can we do to educate the whole community about the issue of child abuse? Or what can we do to provide resources to families in our entire community to help them be a stronger family? Because it all goes back to that vision, which is we're dedicated to a community in which children are safe and families are strong. And all of those pieces all come together to work towards that initiative.
I just could talk to you guys forever because I think what you're doing is a very vital part to making our community a better place to live. And the way you're doing it is just, it's over the top. I don't want to say it's over the top, but it's just very well put together.
It's what our kids need.
Yeah.
Beyond that, it's what our kids deserve.
Right.
Right.
Hey, I'm running out of time.
Well, we appreciate the time.
We do appreciate the time.
Cathy, you have anything you want to say before we leave?
If there's anybody out there in our community who would like to support us financially, you can see that information on our website. Certainly call us. Events that are coming up. We have an events calendar. I'm in charge of the golf tournament, so golfers, we need you. June 19th. It's an 8 a.m. Golf event at Carroll Valley, lunch included. So check on for that. And any questions anybody out there has, feel free to contact the center. And there's always somebody there who will help you and direct you to who can answer questions for you or any other interests you may have.
You know, and if I can, you know, a little bit of a close is that if you are a survivor of child abuse, either a child now or an adult who has survived child abuse, know that we're here for you, and by all means, please reach out. You are not alone. If you are an adult in our community who suspects child abuse, please report it. Call Childline, make that report.
Thanks so much for spending your time. Thanks so much for spending your life and your talents and your treasures. Oh, you guys are amazing. It's very important that we have an organization like the Adams County Children's Advocacy. I think it is like the element that makes a community a better, complete, and whole community. It helps those not only disadvantaged, but any family reach their full potential. So please support this effort. And you only have $2 million yet to raise for the facilities?
Yeah.
Just a little over 2 mil. We can do this. This county can do this.
Yeah, this county has done things like this.
Absolutely.
already.
Absolutely.
You know, it's so, you know, find it in your heart. You know this is a great thing to happen. So thanks for watching this segment of Open House here at Community Media. Until we have a chance to bring some more awesome individuals into our studio, be healthy and remember that you are precious.